Okay, let's talk about what's left here now in the class. We have two more discussion boards you'll be turning in, and then the special occasion speech. Now let's talk about that for a second. It's worth 50 points. It needs to be 3 to 4 minutes in length. Now remember, I allow a little bit of a slop factor, so that means no less than 2 minutes and 45 seconds, no more than 4 minutes and 15 seconds. You must have the proper audience. You must have them face the camera individually. Pause 5 seconds so I can see who they are and get some idea of judging their age. That's been the rule all along, and most of you, some of you have not followed that. Now, the purpose of a special occasion speech is to pay tribute to a person, a group of people, an institution, or an idea. This is a commemorative speech, one of the most common forms of special occasion speaking. They're speeches of praise and celebration. Your aim in this speech is to pay tribute to a person or a group of people. Your subject may be historical or contemporary. You can read all of this. You may choose to recognize a group of people whom you admire, or an institution or an organization that has contributed to your life, or you can have a dominant idea or belief in your life that they have contributed. This speech will focus particularly on your use of language, and it encourages you to use your language imaginatively. Refer to Chapter 11 for information regarding enhancing and clarity and vividness in speaking. Now, this speech, listen carefully because this is a little bit different. Should be written out and delivered from a manuscript. That means you will have the speech word for word in a manuscript. Now, when I give speeches from manuscripts, I always do a minimum of 2.5 spaces between the lines and 16-point type. Why? Because when you look down, it's easier to spot where you are and to know how to get to the next thing. Also, never but never, this is personal, but you can use it too, never but never have a sentence that continues to the next page. If you do that, it's easy to get lost when you flip the page. What I always do is I have a little 3-ring binder that I use, and I have the script in there and work from it that way. After you've rehearsed it a few times, you don't really need it because you know what's coming next, but don't have a sentence convey onto the next page, or you're going to just really mess up your flow. You want to have a speech written out word for word. This is not an excuse to avoid or severely limit the eye contact, so you want to make sure that you're not buried your head in your speech. I'll lose your voice. I'll also lose the eye contact. Be familiar enough with the material that you can make frequent eye contact with your audience. Also, you can avoid the reader's vocal quality. You know, you can control 5 things: pitch, pace, tone, volume, and silence. Vary them, use them, work them into your speech. You should also work to deliver the speech in a natural and a conversational style. Use a dynamic vocal variety. And it'll help really in your speech. Your manuscript needs to be typed with triple spacing and use only one side of the paper. Each page should end in a complete thought. Do not break the sentences. I already said this. Speaking outline is a word-for-word manuscript is your speaking outline. Now, I also will need to see all of this, so make sure you send it to me as part of your email. Special occasion speeches do not typically have a specific purpose statement or follow an outline. This is all in the instructions. You can take a look at that. And a preparation outline is not required for this speech. Visual aids are optional for this speech. You're not required to use, but they can sometimes add a little personal touch, make the speech a little more memorable. Sources are not required for this speech, but if you do quote someone or cite something, you better indicate where you got it so that that's all taken care of. If you have any questions about this, feel free to give me a call in the office. I'm generally here, or at least you can leave a message and I can get back to you. Um, for the most part, many of you have come a very, very long way in this class. I hope that for many of you, as you got more and more used to doing this, that it became a little bit easier. I would say to some of you that it would have been a lot easier, I think, in a face-to-face classroom, because some of the obstacles that you run into with vis-a-vis getting an audience, finding a location that doesn't have any disturbing noises in the background or kids and this kind of thing, also would have been a lot easier in a face-to-face situation. That's not to say that many of you did not do a great job. Just some general comments. Number one, watch your background always. Some of you, the background in which you stood was more distracting than anything you can ever imagine. Some of you have not paid any attention to the conventions of how to do the speech, how to place the camera, how far away the camera should be. The microphone is on the camera, zooming in and out, and the noise the camera makes. All these kinds of things, which again, if it was a face-to-face class, wouldn't have come into play. We are working on technology for this class where students will be able to see other students' speeches. That's another thing that's missing in this class. It's one of the reasons I try to talk to you on webcam, so that you get a little bit of a feel for what other people's triumphs and downfalls were, so that you might be able to either capitalize on that or avoid it, so whatever works for you. Make sure that you finish strong. Make sure you meet all the dates for submitting all your materials, and we'll get your grades posted and take it that way. Also, read carefully the last two discussion boards and what the instructions are, so you get that taken care of. And overall, it's been a real pleasure dealing with your speeches and the topics. Even if you didn't do as well on the speeches you would have liked, the topics were interesting, and certainly many of you know how to engage people in whatever it is you're talking about, and do a fairly compelling job. And some of you are just pure exceptional, and I wish you very, very well in the future, because you're really going to do well in the real world with those abilities to communicate. So you have a good one, and maybe we'll be back to you before the end of the semester, and maybe this is it. So good luck in your future pursuits in college.